we're going to see a lot of new stuff in the areas of COVID-19 testing and vaccination area. As you know, the biggest innovation in this area had been the mRNA vaccines. Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna, they created two vaccines that used the technology called mRNA. This was the first time in the history of mankind when a vaccine like this was created. In the regular vaccine, what happens, they weaken or inactivate the real virus and they insert into the body so that their body can create the antibody. In this case, for our mRNA vaccines, what they did, they taught our cells how to create a protein, and this protein can trigger an immune response, and that can actually prevent you from getting, COVID-19. So these vaccines that Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna created, this is one of the biggest innovation I feel in the century. And this will help us protect ourselves from COVID-19 from all different types of strains that we are hearing from now. This, if you look at the effectiveness, Pfizer BioNTech is 95% effective and Moderna is 94% effective, and they have already applied this to 60 million plus people in the US itself. There are other players also who did not use the mRNA technique to create the vaccines. For example, AstraZeneca, Johnson and Johnson, Novavax. We have seen some vaccines in Russia that's called Sputnik, and also some of the Chinese vaccines came out. They're not as effective as the vaccines that were created using the mRNA techniques, but they're good enough. The next thing that I wanted to highlight here is that with Corona there in place, we're seeing a lot of different techniques that are being used for testing rapidly, right? We have seen some techniques that are claiming that, you can actually do the testing in only 11 minutes at home. You do not need to be in a doctor's chamber. They're also creating, for example, University of San Diego is working on a face mask that can actually help you protect yourself from, that can detect that you have COVID using a sensor. So there will be a lot of techniques that you will be seeing in 2021 that will be related to how you can detect Corona rapidly, how you can prevent and protect yourself from Corona. So overall, I think the biggest innovation we'll be seeing in this area in the vaccination and how to test, how to protect yourself, how to prevent yourself from getting into Corona. I'm very hopeful that by June or July timeframe, we'll be seeing a lot of people will be covered under the vaccine and we'll be not seeing Corona in the way that you're seeing right now. And next year, most probably, we'll be able to attend Startup Grind live. The next thing that I think you're already seeing a huge growth of is the video conferencing system and the teleconferencing system. This industry itself has grown significantly in the last 1 year. In 2029, this industry was about $5.32 billion worth, and this is going to grow up to 10.92 billion in 2027. So we already see a lot of players, and we ourselves at this conference are using Zoom, we are using WebEx, Google Hangout, GoToMeeting. These are some of the bigger and popular platforms. But at the same time, we are also going to be able to experience and see a lot of platforms that will help you work more interactively with your colleagues. There are some of the names that I have shown. These are mostly startups. For example, Bluescape, Tandem, Elops, Slab. These companies are providing you with the platform that can help you be more effective in 2021. So aside from Zoom and WebEx and Google Hangouts and GoToMeeting, we'll also be seeing a lot of these platforms playing a major role in our life in 2021. The next thing I want to talk about is we're also going to see a lot of contactless delivery platforms as as flourishing in 2021. We already see that DoorDash, Postmates, Instacart, Grubhub are integral part of our life already. But at the same time, we'll be also seeing more contactless delivery mechanisms. For example, robot-based delivery platforms. We already see some of them in the second line here. Neuro, Manna, Starship are some of the platforms that we see in the US. I also know that during COVID in Wuhan, Meituan.com, which is one of the largest platform there in China. They also started testing it, and then publicly they released this platform. We can actually see some of these videos here, which can show you that how these platforms are delivering. So on the left side in the screen, I'm showing you Neuro, which is actually one of the platforms that has done really well in Silicon Valley. And this platform is using a autonomous robot that can deliver food to your home. They're already working with some of the largest, grocery stores. On the right side, you see Starship Technologies. They also created a little cute robot that is autonomous that can deliver food to your home. And these are some of the innovations we'll be seeing in 2021 and more. The next thing that I wanted to talk about, what you're going to see in 2021 is a huge growth in the telehealth and telemedicine. In 2020, I know that people got really scared. They became really cautious. Nobody wants to go to the hospital directly and get exposed to COVID. So we have seen these platforms are already growing really well. Some of the public corporations that have done really well in 2020 and continue to grow in 2021 are Amwell, Livongo, One Medical, Teledoc. These are some of the platforms. Some of the startups have also done quite a good job. For example, 98.6, I personally have used it. Sensely, they have done fantastic. Similarly, MD Live, Med, these platforms have done really, really well. I mean, this is going to grow in 2020. This industry is at $38.7 billion, but this is going to grow up to $191.7 billion in 2025. So this is another industry to focus. If you're doing a startup in this area, fantastic. If you're a large corporations, this is something that is coming, and most probably, you should accustom your business strategy and everything along these lines. The next thing that I wanted to point out, that online education and e-learning is going to do really, really well. We have already seen a surge of this industry in a big way. I mean, this is going to reach a size of $319 billion by 2025. We have seen a lot of platforms that have done well. On the screen, I'm showing on the left side, OutSchool, which is one of the platforms in Silicon Valley. This has done fantastic. It has connected all the students from all parts of the US to different states where these teachers are. On the right hand side, I'm showing you platforms from India called Byju. This has done fantastic in India. Some of the top Silicon Valley investors, including the Zuckerberg Foundation, is an investor into these platforms. And these are some of the platforms that are going to have done well and that are also going to do well in 2021 continuously. These are some of the platforms, these are some of the global platforms who are some of the top players in this area. I talked about OutSchool, Coursera, Udacity. These are some of the platforms have done well and continue to do well globally because of the pandemic, and because how the pandemic has changed the behavior of people. People say that even if the pandemic is over, after the corona is over, maybe 10 to 20% of the behaviors that we actually have kind of gained from this pandemic is going to continue in the post industry as well. So it will be good to actually know what is it that the world is going to look like post pandemic. Another area that are going to flourish is the AI, robotics, Internet of Things, and the industrial automation area. We are all talking about, bringing back our supply chain. So as the supply chain comes back to our countries, one of the biggest problems we do not have enough population. So to compensate that population problem, I think we will need to see a lot of automation, and I'm sure that we'll see a lot of application of 5G, AI, IoT, and this will help us automate our industry, and that will reduce the reliance on people, and that will help us bring back some of the supply chains that are in Asia right now. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is that virtual reality and augmented reality. Some of us call it, mixed reality. This is one of the industries that have not done as well as it was supposed to be in the last few years. But with COVID in place, people are trying to experience the reality in a different way. With the growth of 5G, this area is going to accelerate, and we're going to see a lot of applications of the virtual and augmented reality in 2021. We have already seen a lot of large players like Microsoft, Quitek, they have done well. We also see startups that are starting to do well. In 2021, we'll see that this industry is going to do well. It is expected that in 2030, this industry and market will generate a revenue of $1,274 billion. So this is going to be very big. This is another area to focus on for 2021 and the years coming afterwards. The next thing that I wanted to show you, that you have seen a lot of these scooters around in San Francisco area and all over the world, in Europe as well. So micromobility is another area that is going to really do well. Some of the top players in this area, Bird, Lime, Dot, Skip, these are some of the platforms that have done well. We have also seen that this industry has done really, really well in China. For example, in China, we have seen platforms like Ofo, Mobile, Hello. These are some of the platforms that have done this shared mobility. One of the biggest focus in the US is also now is green energy, how you become like a conscious about the environment. With that, this micro mobility becomes very popular. Also, people do not want to get into the public transportation with a lot of people and expose yourselves to COVID. So COVID is playing a major role in how this industry is growing. I personally is an investor in some of these platforms, and I feel that Bird, Lime, and all other platforms are continue to grow in 2021 and onwards. The next thing that I wanted to show you is that autonomous driving. This is an industry, this is going to keep growing. Every single top players are having a flavor of autonomous driving in their plan and strategy. You come from Honda to Tesla, go further, Ford, and then Mercedes-Benz, Lyft, Waymo, which is part of Google right now. They're all having some strategy to have some kind of functionality and platform so that autonomous driving is possible. I know that Tesla has made the highest progress so far. We're driving in the Bay Area with the Tesla cars, but there is still not that level. You need to be a level 5 to be able to fully be able to rely on this autonomous driving mechanism to drive your car. We are not there yet. So we're seeing a lot of merger and acquisition in this area. So I have listed 4 different startups here: Cruise, Auto, Argo AI, and Mobile Eye. All of these platforms got purchased by some of these big players. GM bought Cruise for $1 billion. Uber bought Auto for $680 million. Ford bought Argo AI for $1 billion. And Intel bought Mobile Eye for $15.3 billion. So you're seeing a lot of merger and acquisition in this area, and I feel that this area is going to keep growing in 2021. Another area that I really wanted to show you, and I'm personally an investor in SpaceX, is that a satellite-based internet is going to be very, very big. We already see that China and US are competing with space exploration area. So SpaceX is one of the private entities that have landed, that have brought people back to the space station as a private company for the first time in 2020. In 2021, we'll see a lot more progress. And SpaceX, one of the startups, is going to lead the activity. We see here a bunch of satellites, about 12,000 satellites moving around, rotating around the Earth. This is the new satellite-based internet. We'll be using this in 2021. Already beta testing is being happening. So with this new generation internet, we'll not be relying on the cables that are embedded in the ocean. So we'll be using the satellite-based internet, and this will help internet access for many parts of the world without any cables. And this is already is in a beta testing mode in the US and in Canada, some parts of Canada, and it will go further. The last thing that I wanted to mention about is that artificial food is going to do well. We'll see plant-based and also cell-based artificial food that are going to really, really dominate the industry. So I have written about these trends in Inc. magazine. Please check out this article that I have already wrote. Please also be my friend, connect me over internet, and thank you very much for your time. It was a great honor to be able to talk to you and talk about the trends of the industry. Thank you.